Hello everyone. So today we are going to understand that what is database normalization. So when I talk about database normalization, it is a technique of organizing the data into your databases. It is a systematic approach of decomposing the tables to eliminate data redundancy. So when I talk about data redundancy, it means that when the same piece of data is kept in two different places. Normalization also helps you to eliminate undesirable characteristics like insertion, updation, and deletion anomalies. So it is a multi-step process that puts the data into tabular form and it removes the duplicate data from the relation tables. So there are two reasons why do we use normalization. The very first, it eliminates redundant, repeated or useless data. Second, it ensures data dependency will have some sense. That is, the data is logically stored into your databases. There are few problems which happens or which occurs without normalization. Like if a table is not properly normalized and it has data redundancy, then it will not only eat up the extra memory space, but it will also make it difficult to handle the updation, insertion, and deletion of your databases. So the main purpose of normalization is to minimize the redundancy and remove the insert, update, and deletion anomalies. So basically, it divides your larger tables into smaller ones and links them using the relationships. So the relationship here refers to your primary key and foreign key relationship, where the one table primary key, when moves to the another table, it becomes the foreign key. So when I talk about database normalization, it has steps, and the very first step is called as first normal form, which is also called as 1NF. So for a table to be in the first normal form, it should have the following four rules. First, it should only have single atomic value attributes or column, which means that your attribute values should be single. It cannot hold multiple attribute values. Second, values stored in the column should be of the same domain. So that at the time of creation of your column, whatever data type you have mentioned, the attribute values should belong to that same data type. Third, all the columns in the table should have unique names. Fourth, the order in which the data is stored doesn't matter. So let's take an example for the same. So here over your screens, you can see that you have in a student table with the field student roll number, name and subject. So if I talk about this table already satisfies the three rules out of the four. Like all the column names are unique here. We have stored them in the order we want to. They have not been intermixed with the different type of data in the columns. But out of the three different students in our table, two have opted for more than one subject, that is Akin and Bakin. So we have stored the subject names in a single column. But as per the first normal form, each column must contain atomic value, that is nothing but single value. So how to solve this problem? It's very simple because all we have to do is to break the values into atomic values or single values. And over your screen, you can see that our updated table is there and how it has satisfied the first normal form. By doing so, although the few values are getting repeated, but values for the subject column are now atomic or single for each record or row. So using the first normal form, though the data redundancy has increased as there will be many columns with same data in multiple rows, but each row as a whole will be unique, which is the condition of first normal form. So the first normal form output, that is your roll number, name and subject, which each record is uniquely identified having a single attribute value only, becomes the input for the second normal form. So let's go to the second normal form. So for table to be in the second normal form, it should fulfill two conditions. First, it should be in the first normal form. And second, it should not have partial dependency. So when I talk about partial dependency, it means that non-prime attribute is functionally dependent on a part of a candidate key. So candidate key is nothing but when two primary keys are combined together, that is called as candidate key. So the first requirement is it should be in the first normal form. So whatever becomes your output of one NF becomes the input to the second NF. So this is your step number 2. So let's begin. So first we'll take a quick recap and we'll understand that what do you mean by functional dependency or dependency. And second, partial dependency with the example which we have considered. So let us start. So first we'll understand that what do you mean by dependency. So let us take an example of a student table. You can see over your screen, which has columns, student ID, student name, registration number, branch, and address. So in this table, student ID is the primary key and will be unique for every row. So we can say that using student ID, we can fetch any row of the data from this table. So let us consider a case where even if the student names are same, but if we have a different student ID, we can identify the unique records. So we can say that for the student table, student ID becomes the primary key, and using that primary key, we can identify the unique records into our tables. Like if I want to ask the branch name of the student with student ID 10, I can get it. Similarly, if I ask for the name of the student with student ID 10 or 11, I will get them as well. So all I need is a student ID and every other column, that is your non-primary key attributes, that is your name, registration number, branch and address, depends on it. And using that only we can fetch the result. So this is called as dependency, and it is also called as functional dependency. Okay. So now let us understand what do you mean by partial dependency. So now since we know the dependency, now we can understand the partial dependency also very easily. So let us consider a table that is a student table, which will have a single column like student ID that will uniquely identify all the records in the table. But this cannot be true all the time. So we need to extend our example. So we are going to add one more column, and that column is nothing but the subject. So you can see over your screen that we have added another table that is a subject, which will have field subject ID, subject name, and so on. So the subject ID will become the primary key for the subject table. So now we have a student table with student information, and there is another table that is subject table for storing the subject information. Let us create another table that is the score table to store the marks which will be obtained by the students in the respective subjects. We will be also saving the name of the teachers who teaches the subject along with the marks. So now in your score table, we are saving the student ID to know which student marks are this, as well as the subject ID to know for which subject the marks are for. So we can say that student ID plus subject ID forms a candidate key for this table. So now let us understand that where is the partial dependency. Now if you look at the score table, we have a column that is a column that is teacher, okay, which is only dependent on the subject. Like for Java, it is Java teacher, for C++, it is C++ teacher, and so on. So whenever we talk about composite key, that is your student ID and subject ID together becomes a composite key. But if I talk about the teacher name, that only depends on the subject, because subject ID is something which is important in case of the teacher, because which teacher is teaching which subject, that is important. And there is nothing, or you can say there is no relation with the student ID when we talk about subject ID, subject name, and teacher. So here it is called as a partial dependency, where an attribute in a table depends on only a part of the primary key and not on the whole key. So since we had a composite primary key, that was your subject ID and student ID, but when I talk about the column name teacher, it is partially dependent on subject ID and it has no connection with the student ID. Okay, so it is just as your condition says, it should be will depend on the part of the primary key, sorry, part of the candidate key. So here the part of the candidate key here is nothing but the subject ID on which the teacher is dependent. So now the question comes that how to remove this partial dependency. So the easiest way to remove the partial dependency is that we will remove the teacher name from the score table and we will add it to the subject table. Okay, so you can see this, that we have removed the teacher from the score table and we have added it to the subject table. So the dependency which was there initially has been removed. So now our score table in the second normal form with no partial dependency is score ID, student ID, subject ID, and marks. So this is all about your second normal form table. Next, we are moving to the third step, that is your third normal form, or 3NF. So for table to be in 3NF, it needs to satisfy two conditions. First, it should be in the second normal form, and second, it should not have transitive dependency. So whatever is an output of second normal form becomes the input for the third normal form. And second condition says it should not have transitive dependency. So we need to understand that what do you mean by transitive dependency. So let's see. So now the table which has been output of your second normal form becomes the input of the third normal form, which has table student table, subject table, and the score table. So now in the score table, we will add some more information. Okay, that is your exam name and total marks. So we should understand now what do you mean by transitive dependency. Like with exam name and total marks, which is added to our score table, it saves more data now. The primary key for our score table is a composite key, which means that it is made up of two attributes or column. That is nothing but student ID plus subject ID. So now we have a new column that is exam name, which depends on both student and the subject. Like if I take an example of a mechanical engineering student will have a workshop exam, but a computer science student won't have a workshop exam. Rather, he will have a practical exam. Okay, so we can say that exam name is something which is dependent on both student ID and subject. And when we talk about your total marks, it depends on the exam name. Because as the exam type will change, the total marks score will also change. Like in case of the practical exam, the marks will be different. In case of your theory exam, the marks will be different. So exam name is a column according to which the total marks column will keep on changing. But if we see in your score table, exam name is just like another column in the score table. It is not a primary key and not even a part of the primary key. And the total marks is something which is dependent on exam name. So this is called as a transitive dependency when a non-primary key attribute, that is your exam name, is depend on another non-primary key attribute, that is total marks, are depending upon the prime attributes of primary key, that is nothing but your score ID. So how to remove the transitive dependency? Again, the solution is very simple. We will break down the columns. We'll take out the columns exam name and total marks from the score table and we'll put them into the exam table and use the exam ID wherever is required. So the advantage of this is that the amount of data duplication will be reduced and data integrity will be achieved. So we can see that the new table, exam table, will have field exam ID, exam name and total marks. Next, we have BCNF. This is your fourth normal form. That is the last step. So for a table to be in BCNF, it should satisfy these two conditions. The very first, relation R must be in the third normal form. That is your output of third normal form will become the input for fourth normal form or BCNF. Second, for each functional dependency, that is X is functionally dependent on Y, X should be a super key. So let's see what is it. So here in this, you can see that we have a field that is student ID, subject and professor. And you can also see that one student can enroll for multiple subjects. Like in this example, we have a student ID 101 who has opted for subjects Java and C++. Similarly, for each subject, there is a professor assigned to the student and there can be multiple professors teaching one subject, just in the case we have of Java. So you can see that in case of Java, we have multiple professors that is teaching the subject. So the question here arises that what do you think should be the primary key? Okay, well in the table above, we can see student ID and subject together forms the primary key because using student ID and subject, we can find all the columns of the table. But the one more important point we have to note here is there is a professor who teaches only one subject. However, there are also one subject wherein many professors or different professors are teaching. So we can say that there is a dependency between your subject and professor here, where the subject completely depends on the professor name or the professor who is teaching that subject. So accordingly, if we see, this table satisfies the first normal form because all the values are atomic, column names are unique, and all the values stored in the particular column are of the same domain. This also satisfies the second normal form as there is no partial dependency and there is no transitive dependency. Hence, the table satisfies the second and third normal form as well, but it will not satisfy the BCNF. The reason why, in the above table, student ID plus subject together forms the primary key, which means that subject column is a prime attribute, but there is one more dependency, that is professor dependency over the subject. And while the subject is primary key, professor is a non-primary key attribute. This combination is not allowed in your BCNF. So how we are going to satisfy it? So you can see that we will divide this again. We'll make this relation satisfy BCNF by decomposing the table into two tables, that is your student table and professor table. And the PID, which is the foreign key in the student table, will become the primary key in the professor table. So this is your final explanation of BCNF, where you will have your all the relationship ABCD, which will have the dependency. A is functionally dependent on BCD, BC is functionally dependent on AD, D is functionally dependent on B. So above relationship is already there in your 3NF, the keys which are your A and BC. Okay. So functional dependency A, B, C, D, where A is a super key. In the second relation, BC, functionally dependent on AD, BC is also the key. But in D is not a key. Okay, so we are breaking our relations into two, that is R1 and R2, where R1 will have ADC and the R2 will have DB. So whenever we talk about breaking the tables into, one will have ADC and other will have DNB. So in this each step, you have keep identifying that how your tables primary keys have keep on changing. When you were in the first normal form, you had a student ID. When you were in the second normal form, you had your student ID plus subject ID together as primary key. Then when you come to the third normal form, you had an exam ID as a primary key. So when you moved at the last normal form, you had professor ID. So similarly, at each step, you're breaking down the tables, you're linking them by the relation of foreign key and primary key. But if I talk about the super key, student ID remains the super key because this is the one main key that uniquely identifies all your records. Okay, so that's it for the day. Thank you, everyone.